Hello, Vivek sir. Can you hear me?
Hey, I can hear you.
Awesome. Okay. I just changed the speaker, so that's just checking.
Sure.
All right. Hey, Sakshi.
Good afternoon, everyone. Hope you all are doing good. On behalf of DigiSaksham family, I welcome you all on the webinar of Future of Technologies and Startup Opportunities for Young Workforce. With the motto, Learning for Earning, Seams Group initiated DigiSaksham as a skill development wing. For more details, you can visit our website www.digisaksham.com or can directly contact me, myself Sakshi Narayan. Without wasting any time, go through the rules quickly. Kindly mute your audios and videos. The option is given at the bottom of your screen. You can drop your queries at the chat box and will be answered by the experts at the end of the session. Do not open or share your screen. Very important point, kindly fill the feedback form so that we can provide you better services in future and also for certificate of participation. Now, without wasting any time, let me introduce the experts of today's webinar. First, Mr. Vivek Shukla. He is a CEO
Hello.
of Nukkar Shops and heading the operations season since 2017. He was involved in various stages of product development, that is, conceptualizing a technology product, pre-production, production, and deployment. He is also responsible for establishing customer relationship and sustain the engagement. Our next speaker is Mr. Prakhar Mittal. He is currently working as a senior consultant in Deloitte. He has total 11 years of experience, out of which 4 years is in international level. He is turned product development strategies consultant with accomplishment of providing I2P, PPM, innovation, and PLM solutions for healthcare, life science, CPG clients across Germany, USA, Canada, and Australia. So I welcome Mr. Vivek and Mr. Prakhar for the session. Without wasting any time, I hand over the session to Mr. Vivek. Sir, over to you.
Thank you, Sakshi. That was a wonderful introduction. And thanks DigiSaksham for bringing us together so that we can share our experience. I can share my experience today. My name is Vivek Shukla, and I run this company called Nukkad Shops. We're based out of Hyderabad. A little bit on my background. I did my engineering, way back in 2008, and basically started my career with Electronic Arts, which is one of the largest gaming company in the world. Spent a couple of years with them. Was part of a couple of really cool games that we built. I think some of the popular games were Need for Speed or FIFA, uh, th- which were really popular those days. And then basically moved to another company called Xcube Labs, which is which is a which is a company that develops a lot of digital properties. They work with a lot of Fortune 500 clientele as well as startups. They take up ideas from the ground up and basically help the customers basically get to a reasonable product, get to a reasonably good product, right? And that's where my background is. I come from a typical tier 2, tier 3 cities. Have always been basically connected with the small SMB segments. uh, and that's where there was always a lingering while I was working at Xcube Labs, that hey, I want to do something about the whole kiranas or whole SMB segments. SMB stands for small and medium sized businesses. uh, and then basically started talking to a lot of merchants around me whom I knew, to understand what are their pain points, etc. And basically uh, we started Nukkad started as a hyper local platform where we basically wanted to connect kiranas with the customers around them. There are roughly about 1.5 million, 1.5 crore kiranas today across India, and most of them basically and most of them basically uh, you know thrive on the roughly about 500 to 1000 families around them, and uh, their success is all about basically serving those customers in best possible way. And so that's where we started. We thought, hey, let's connect. Now most of these kiranas or most of these supermarkets anyways basically were connecting with the merchants, customers around them. They were taking orders on phone or WhatsApp, etc. The initial idea was, can we basically build them an interface, build them an app where they can start taking the orders through a mobile app where everything is more streamlined. There is no, the overall service offering is a lot better than what is available right now. And when we did that, we basically quickly acquired about 200 300 customers. In Hyderabad, we did a quick pilot. We were doing about 200 300 orders a day, and then we realized that the problems were even deeper, right? Because a lot of these kiranas never had any sort of digital inventory which I can connect to. Even if the orders were coming, a lot of time the fill rate was not very good, because although on the app the items were available, but sometimes they were not really available in the store, or the prices were not correct, or because we were depending on the merchants to do the fulfillment, sometimes the overall experience was broken. The orders were not getting delivered in time. We also realized that the margin overall the merchants were sitting on was really thin. They were like sitting on a roughly about 10% margin overall. And that's where we thought, and that's where we basically went deeper into the problem, started kept talking to a lot of these merchants who understand what are the real problems. And we realized that hey, they are basically are in need of a solution which basically can digitize their overall offering, right? A lot of these merchants didn't know what inventory are they holding, what is expiring. If certain customer is not coming back to store, why is he not coming back? What they can do, what as an intervention to make sure that they come back. How, if they want to basically improve their business, if they want to basically increase their sales, what kind of product they should basically introduce, right? So we basically started building around it. If you look at today, we basically are a commerce platform. We roughly serve 4,500 customers today. We serve more than 18,000 touch points across India. And the offering is very simple. Basically, we give them a platform, which is a offering that includes hardware as well as software, which basically allow them to digitize their entire inventory, manage the entire inventory, basically track what are the better selling SKUs. SKU stands for stock keeping units. What are the better selling products? What are the not so better selling products? Where he can invest his money to basically do more turns for his inventory. Basically, a lot of these merchants give out unsecured credit to their customers. So we basically build a solution using which they can always stay on top of it, to understand how much money is already available in the market. They have given credit. What are their vendors? What are their vendors? How much they owe them. I mean, so basically, idea is to basically give them a solution which basically help them stay on top of their entire operations. And then we basically integrated a mobile storefront with this, so that they can sell in their vicinity, which basically helps them get additional footfall. The customer who are basically churning to Big Basket or Grofers or some other platforms, those people can download the app, place an order and get it delivered. We basically build a delivery app, using which the basically customer can track in real time where the order is. And a lot of our merchants basically have multiple stores, multiple businesses. So we basically build a platform, using which they can track the real time analytics. They can basically track the performance across the platform, and basically take a more informed decisions. So that's what we do on a uh, on a nutshell. And I think things have been looking very good for us. We have been growing really fast. uh, yeah, so I think that's about me and Nukkad Shops.
Awesome. All right. Thank you very much, sir. I'm already actually on your slide, which is about talking about Nukkad Shops. You already covered a lot of things.
Yeah.
So thank you for that great introduction and great detail about Nukkad Shop, sir. And let me introduce myself. Hello, everyone. This is Prakhar Mittal. As I think I'll go to the slide so that it's easy to. I hope most of you can see me on the screen as well. And this is the quick introduction for you, everyone. I'm currently working in Deloitte as a senior consultant, and my main domain is actually product development and strategy. And that is what I'm doing. The ideas which Vivek sir talked about, right? How you actually came up with the idea of developing Nooker Shop. That's nothing but a product, right? And that is what and where I help. And that is what we are trying to do. We are actually helping companies to prepare their complete product lifecycle management systems, and we are trying to help them implement those applications. All right, that's about me. In this workshop today, what we are trying to do is we will be talking about our experiences, like as Vivek sir mentioned his idea and he talked about his journey, like how he started Nooker Shops, how he actually reached to that level where he is right now. We'll be talking about that, and you have a very good platform where you can ask your questions wherever you feel like asking a question, right? And meanwhile, I'll also try to play as a moderator, and I'll like whenever I get a chance to connect with Vivek sir, I have a lot of questions for him. I always ask them. I'm always curious to learn those things, to nitty gritties about startup, right? So we'll talk about first the startup thing, how it actually works, and I will walk you through the slides. And Vivek sir, you can tell me if you can actually see what is which slide you want to talk about, or you where you want me to stop.
Sure, you can go ahead with the questionnaire. I think I did speak about the brief intro on the company,
Awesome.
on what we do. So yeah, we can basically.
All right. So my first question, I know you talked about a lot of things, right? So you talked about the complete journey. I want to know, like in this slide which I am right now having, there are so many people I can see on my left hand side, right? Is this
Mhm.
something which Nooker Shop is doing? This is the application which you are installing, or this is the complete hardware? Like if I hear Nukkar Shop, what it is? It is just an application. It is the hardware. As an end user, for me, what it is.
So I think I did mention, right? We offer the complete full stack product, right? That goes with our own hardware as well as our own software, right? So if you
Okay.
are a small business owner, whatever you may need to run your operations, right? Uh, I'm talking about technology. We can take care of it. We basically give you a hardware where you can run the a point of sale. It basically it runs a point of sale app on this. There is
Mm-hmm.
inventory module built into it. There is a billing module built into it. There is vendor management, a lot of other things, CRM, etc., loyalty program, etc. All of this is built into it, right, in the app. uh, and on top of it, we basically offer a lot of analytics on top of it, right? Because for any business, it's really important for the owner to take informed decisions. Otherwise, you are shooting in the blind, right? So
Exactly.
that's where we come and help the merchant in taking those informed decisions. What SKUs are selling, what products are selling, what products are not selling, what categories are doing better, what categories are not doing better, what
Mm-hmm.
kind of customers are coming back. If a particular customer is coming back, what you can do to increase your basket size to him. How can you basically so basically we have this feature where we collect their phone number, and basically basis on their past purchase behavior, we come up with a lot of insights for the merchant in real time when the customer is already in the store and he's trying to bill, where he can basically remind him that, sir, you might be running out of Colgate or Atta or whatever, right, basis on his previous purchase cycle. And we noticed that these kind of things basically help the merchant in increasing their top line.
Awesome. All right. So Vivek sir, one quick question. I know this is more insight towards application, but to understand it more further, right? So on which platform you developed this complete app, and for using your data insight, what was the technology you are using, and how you are actually every day you are evolving in your analytics?
Mhm. So we basically for backend we used LAMP stack, right, Linux, Apache, PHP, and our front end is built onto Android. And the reason why we picked Android, because we realized that our users were not very educated. A lot of time a lot of these people are also uneducated, right, especially the cashiers, etc. But what we realized that, so basically using up a computer was really scary for them. But what we also realized that they were already using some sort of a smartphone, Android phone, and they were quite comfortable using it. They were using Facebook, WhatsApp, or Ghana or whatever, right? So we realized that hey, if they can if they can use all these apps, they can as well use if we build a user friendly app on the same platform where they are basically familiar with the interface, it will be really easy for them to basically adopt to it, right?
Awesome.
So that's why we picked this technology.
And for data analytics, any
So basically,
specific?
we use Python. We build a lot of scripts using Python that basically continuously keep feeding us information. And database is built on Mongo, right? So it's non-relational database. It's super easy for us to basically mine a lot of data and come up with these recommendations in real time.
Okay.
Yeah.
And as I know, our audience today is majorly coming from engineering background and students, right?
Hmm.
They, and especially like right now, I'm also something which wanted to learn. If I have one idea, right?
Hmm.
How do I start up? How do I actually work on that? How do I create my own startup?
So I think I keep mentioning this because I think there is another question from one of the audience, Sandhya, that hey, this is not easy for students to begin a startup with our ideas. See, there are multiple phases of building any large organization, right, or any shaping up the idea. The first step is to basically build your solid idea. Now let's say I am X, and I basically wants to build an app for I want to build an app where people can basically come and rent these cycles. I think there are a couple of companies already doing it, something like Bounce and all. So my first step should be to go to think about who will use this, right? For whom I'm building this,
Mhm.
right? So people who basically, they want to basically, they don't own a car, or they basically don't have their own transportation system, are using public transportation, or someone who is basically, you know, who wants to basically indulge in a healthy living, he will use probably, right? That could be my initial thinking. So the first step should be to basically go and validate this, that hey, I think that these kind of people will use it, but will you use it? If I build a service like this, will you use it?
Right.
And in your mind, always build a currency using which you can, validate this. So hey, I'm thinking of building this company, and I will build this in next 6 months.
Mhm.
Will you use it? Let's say, Prakhar said, I will, basically use this. And Prakhar is not losing anything by saying this today, right? He
True.
may as well not use it when I build it. So can he basically trade something in return? Can I basically sell him some advance trips today, maybe at a very, very discounted price, maybe at a abnormally discounted price? But can I ask him to commit to this, right? So that's the first step, where I basically do the validation of my idea that I want to build. And
Right.
then basically the second step is team, right? I can't do it alone. I will need
Mhm.
someone who can basically go talk to customers. I will need someone who can design the interface. I will need someone who can actually do the coding. And even if you're talking about coding, there is front end, there is back end. There are very few people who are full stack, right? So basically,
Yep.
I need to go talk to my some of my friends. I need to take them in confidence that hey, I want to build this. Will you come together and work with me? And I think, we as a society, we give a lot of emphasize on success. That, what if I fail? But the thing is, 99% of the startups anyways fail, right? So you should not worry about it. Even if you don't succeed, at least you will gain the experience, and that experience is what really matters, right? Because you are basically going hustling, you're talking to people, you are gaining experience, and this experience will be really useful even if you fail today, in your next experience, in your next adventure, right?
Exactly.
So basically, as a second step, build the team, build a product early, minimum viable product, MVP, and then basically take it to real users and see if they are basically, and learn from there. See, what are the challenges they are facing. First product will never be perfect. There will be a lot of glitches, there will be, but don't wait for a perfect product, right? I mean, a lot of people get stuck when they start building that. Okay, I'm perfectionist, I will build a perfect product and then I'll go to market. Don't wait for that. Build really early, build a really, really early version, and then go to market. Learn from people, how are they using it, what challenges are they facing, right? Challenges could be technological, challenges could be operational. Learn from it, iterate. So idea is, the key to success is iteration, right? Because a lot of times what I think is the right solution may not be the right solution, right?
Exactly.
So idea is to basically, iterate really, really fast and keep learning from the market. Let the market guide you.
Awesome. And I think in this, right, Vivek sir, you already mentioned the things, right? There is one student who asked a question, like, as a student, it's difficult to start the startup. And I would
Mhm.
correct you here, dear student, like, I think Sandhya, right? So my suggestion is, and my answer to that would be, and I think Vivek sir, you can also add, most of the biggest startup, you talk about Microsoft, you talk about Facebook, you talk about our Flipkart, Ola, right? Even Oyo, they have been started by students only. The only thing is, as Vivek sir mentioned, right, three things, right? One, as a start working on that. Second is, don't wait to complete the product, make the MVP. There is a term called MVP, minimum viable product. Once you have that idea ready with you, just launch it in the market. And third thing is, most importantly, as Vivek sir
संगीता
mentioned,
फैन ऑन
right,
करना. संगीता फैन
you
ऑन
need
करना.
currency, right? You need investment from the people. That is what you need. Once you start that, you need money from people, and until unless you can actually convert into currency, you can't make an idea. And last thing which he mentioned also, right, don't be afraid of failing. It's perfectly fine to fail. None of the startup, you take any example, none of the biggest company has actually become big without failing. The more you fail, more you learn. All right. I think that's a very good question, and that is something which we can move further with our slides. Sir, this slide which we are having, this is like a lot of people I can see. Would you like to talk about them and just give an introduction?
So I think second question is about financial support, right? How can we get the financial
Ah,
support for a
okay.
startup? Now, I mean, so anything that you want to build will need some sort of financial support, right? But uh, my learning from the when I started up is that financial support won't come till there is some sort of validation, right?
True.
And but there are ways to get around it, right? Because for example, if you look at even something like Amazon, I mean, you will need, so where, if you need to get started, where do you need to spend, right? You need to basically spend money on building the product. You can work with your friends, you can basically share equity, trade equity. You can build the skill set yourself. You can work with some people who basically have the skill set. You can share equity. uh, Second space where you basically spend money is on computing. A lot of people actually have computers. Second is you will need some sort of server access. If you look at Facebook, Amazon, Google, all these all these companies have some sort of student packages, right? Where you can go and basically build a MVP and host it and basically do it for free, right? I mean, all these guys give some free credits. So yeah, I mean, basically Google around it, do spend time on exploring these kind of programs, and you will see that there is enough support already available in the market in terms of computing, etc. Facebook gives free credits, Google gives free credits, AWS gives some free credits. So use those, and then there are additional credits that are available for students, right, if they want to start up. In some cases, I'm not sure if probably colleges can help to basically build the initial MVP. And once you have the initial MVP, I'm sure a lot of your users will start paying, or maybe you can go and then talk to some of the investors, show them your idea, and basically try to convince them to invest into you.
Exactly. And I think developing a POC, right, proof of concept is very much
Yeah.
required. And I
So
do understand
having a workable POC is really important, and
very,
having
very,
some initial traction is really important. If you don't have anything, just idea, then idea is itself is not good for anything, right? Because uh, I think there is a very famous saying that execution eats the strategy for breakfast, right? And that's true. I may have brilliant idea, I may have brilliant strategy, but unless I go and execute it, it doesn't really matter.
exactly. And I think I remember Vivek sir, you used to tell this all the time, right? An idea is something overrated or something. What was that?
Yeah, basically ideas are overrated, execution is underrated. So basically idea is to go and execute what you think. I think there are you know other studies which says that if I'm thinking of something today, a lot of people are basically uh, you know they are a little scared of sharing their ideas. They think that their idea is something which is worth millions, which is not true, right? Unless you build the product, unless you build the product around your idea, only then it is worth something, right?
Exactly.
So basically go share ideas, talk to your friends, etc., and then try to convince them, get them on board. Building a company is not a solo journey. You can't build a company as a solo traveler. You need to basically
True.
bring more people on your boat, and then succeed.
Building team. So as we are talking
Right.
about team, and we have on the screen also your team. Would you like to talk about your team, Vivek sir?
Yeah, absolutely right. I mean, so we are roughly about 85 people today. Niranjan is one of my, is my co-founder. He comes with roughly around 30 years of experience, comes with a lot of retail background,
Mm-hmm.
So when I met him, it was like, we really hit off in the, first meeting, where he could bring in a lot of experience. I could bring in a lot of, lot of ideas, a lot of fresh ideas, learning from, what's happening latest in the market. And we basically, we were a good team. And then basically there are good enough engineers. There are pretty solid team behind us, right? So end of the day, you may have brilliant ideas, but unless you are able to convert those ideas into a really solid product, it's not really useful. So you need to have a really solid team behind you to basically build those ideas.
Exactly. All right. So one question. This is again from my side only. So I know right now Nukkar Shop is completely into POS and providing the billing solution. Was it the initial idea as well, or was it something different and then you actually did
No,
not
actually,
do
it was different, and I think I covered this in my, when I started, talking about the company, right? The
something?
initial idea was that we wanted to build a B2C business, wherein we wanted to basically connect the kiranas of the world with the audience through a hyper local mobile app.
Right.
And then when we went live, we realized that we needed a we needed to talk to a real time inventory, and unless we do that, this will never succeed because the fill rate will always be low, the prices will always be incorrect. So basically we need digitization at the store, only then we can digitize the front end.
Awesome.
So it's
All
like
right.
this, right? If you want to build a building, if you want to build a
Mhm.
10 floor building, you really need to
Right.
have solid, you really need to have
Foundation.
your foundation. Unless you have that, you can't really build a 10 floor building. And with my initial idea, that foundation was missing, and I quickly realized it. Now a lot of people basically are they're basically stuck with their ideas that, hey, I cannot think wrong. But no, you need to basically keep your ear open. You need to basically listen where the market is guiding you, and then
Exactly.
basically move your company around with that. You can't get stuck that, hey, I wanted to build a hyper local e-commerce app and I will only build that. No, you need to learn from the market, that where the market is guiding you.
True. And that is what is the story, right? Most of
Right.
the startups and most of the businesses right now, we talk about startup has become a very buzzword, right? Everybody talks about that.
Hmm.
But people don't understand every company, whichever we see, right? Today, even, right? You talk any company, even the HP or Apple and whatnot, they start always with an idea, right? And we just need to keep working on those ideas. If you see, Apple, before Apple, it was Alphabet, and before that, it was Pixar. They came up with a lot of things before coming and reaching to where they are right now. And I think
Yeah.
we always,
So Steve
yeah,
Jobs basically started building. Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak, started building computers for fun. Steve Wozniak was really passionate guy, and he never
mhm,
thought that he can basically build a business around it. He thought, who will buy personal computers? Because that time, personal computer was a very very foreign idea. Steve Jobs was visionary. He thought, hey, in future people will start using personal computers. There will be a real need.
right,
But Wozniak was just a passionate guy. He just wanted to make sure that whatever he is building is really neat, is really powerful, and basically he can build the best possible product, right? So, and the company was started in a garage, right? And then basically,
right,
customers started piling up. They started building the company, and every company is built like this, right? I mean, Amazon was built in a very small room as a online bookstore. Snapdeal was a very different company when they started. Paytm was a very different company when they started. HP was built into a garage, and now that's a billion dollar, hundreds of billion dollar company.
very true. And that is what we have to focus, right? We
Right.
just have to keep learning, start working on ideas, and then turning around depending upon the different situation which you encounter and you
True.
step on.
True.
Awesome. All right. So I think that's a very good insight, Vivek sir. Let me start talking about, like, we talked about how you can start startup and whatnot. And we need to understand, and Vivek sir, feel free to chime in wherever you want, give your input. And as you mentioned, right, you talked about data insights. Most of the companies have a lot of data. Most of the companies already and always had data. But were they using it? That is something which is future, right? Where actually in today's era, we already started analyzing data big time. We
Mhm.
started doing analytics. We started doing a lot of different technology around data. Big data is there, Hadoop is there, and as Vivek sir mentioned, Mango is there, right? So many databases are there, and so many analytics are going on. Why all these things are happening? And that is where the topic is, right? The future of IT, how it is right now, and where it will be down the line 5 years or 10 years, right? So let me know if you can see the screen, and that is what we have right now. IT today, what is happening today will not be happening same thing, will not remain same as in 2025 or 2020. I'll always start with this, very great example of BlackBerry versus Apple. In year 1998, most of the people, whenever they used to, if they need any smartphone, for them, BlackBerry was the option. Even till 2005, 2006, till Apple was not launched. But so many competitors there, right? Motorola was there, Nokia was there, so many companies were there. They were making different kind of phone. But BlackBerry came with a very fancy stuff, which was QWERTY keypad. It made the life of all these corporate people very easy. People got fascinated. In year 2005, you see any CEO, any senior leadership, any person who is quite busy might be using BlackBerry. And that was not just a phone, but also was a status symbol. But how many of us today use BlackBerry? And I can tell you with the numbers which are there, 0.000001%. What is the reason? The reason is lacking in innovation. The reason is lacking to fail. The reason is not upgrading yourself. BlackBerry made something fancy and stopped there. They did not continue moving ahead with the future. They did not think about what will happen in future. Even the market competitor, when they started doing innovation, they still being rigid, did not make that impact in their innovation. And that is why they lagged big time. They could not keep up with the current future, right? Whatever is happening right now. Now, on the contrary, if you see Apple started with iPhone. In 2007, the first iPhone was launched. In 2019, we have iPhone 11. And meanwhile, they came up with so many fancy things. And every year, they are working on their innovation. They are not stopping on the innovation part. They are not just selling the iPhone, which they launched in 2007. They are selling iPhone 11, 11 Pro, 11 Max, and whatnot. Same with the multiple companies, right? You talk about Samsung, you talk about OnePlus, and whatnot. Why I am taking this example? Because every one of us is very much connected to phone, right? We don't really see that how phones are working, how things are there, and how much it should be. Uh, we see the difference. The reason is if you keep up with the future, you think about future, what will happen next, you actually upgrade yourself. So if we see the slide, right, there are some specific things which are happening today, but will not happen day after tomorrow, or maybe in future. If you see 2025, the things are going to change. What you need to do as a student, as a faculty, or as a professor, you have to upgrade yourself. If you continue talking about Java, which was there in 2000 and 1995, people will actually, obsolete you slowly. And that is what you don't want. You want to keep up with the future. You want to keep up with the current pace and become more utilized every day, right? Become more valuable. So the difference, if you see, right, in IT companies, I can tell you with my experiences. Earlier, the companies were more control driven, more risk averse. When I say risk averse, that means they were not ready to take more risk. They didn't want to go into the, like, having a fear of unknown is very common. But if you do as a corporate engineer or as a student or even as a faculty, you get scared of something which you don't know, you cannot make a progress. You cannot make the move. As one of the student asked this question, right? How we actually get the startup? I don't remember the name, but one student asked that question, like how to get the startup. The answer is simple. Take the first step. Don't be scared of trying something new. Take risk, even if you're not getting financial support from multiple people. If you try 10 people already, try 11th one, try 12th one. Don't stop. You have multiple people around there who will actually come forward and help you. Down the line, what is happening? Companies are becoming more collaborative. When I'm saying collaborative, what did it means, right? So as you saw the example of, let's say, you talk about nowadays, most of the corporate companies, right, they are coming up with collaborative environment. Right now, we are using Zoom for this call. What it is? It's nothing but collaboration, right? On the internet, you can actually, all of us can come and we don't have to go meet in physical or meet in person. We, using the internet, we all can come together, talk about something and learn new things. That is what collaboration is. And that is where the future is going. If you see in 2005, nobody could even think that this is possible, that people are working on internet. Everybody is working from home in this pandemic, right? Everybody is working on home. But was it possible in 2005? Of course not. But in 2020, that is being possible. The app, Zoom app, right? It was not launched today. It was launched long back. But due to this pandemic season, this app has become necessity of the time, right? And that is what, if he would have thought in 2018 or 17 when he built this app, right? People would not have thought, like, people would have said like, okay, why to have this app? We are going to meet in person only. But you see the vision, right? He made this app, and now in this situation also we are using it. And that is where you have to think about the future, what will happen. Second is data rich and insight poor, right? As Vivek sir mentioned, right, in his own company, he's also putting effort doing the insights. Data is always there since the company started digitization. Not only digitization, if you might have gone to any government office, right, you will see piles of files, right? Millions and zillions of files put in there. So data was there always. What was missing is, the missing point was just how you actually analyze the data. And if you want to take a field, right, just data itself can be a very, very vast field to become an expert. You can call yourself data scientist. You can have multiple opportunities in this particular area, right? Data science. What was happening is they were having data, but they were not analyzing it. But down the line, if you see, a lot of analytics companies are there. What they are doing is they are just simply analyzing a data and telling you the story. And that is where the future is. You work about it, you learn about it. And as Vivek sir mentioned, he's using Python, right? There are not only just Python is the only language, there are PyTorch, there are multiple applications out there in the market. What you have to do is learn about it, how these applications work, and then adapt doing that. If you have one idea of your own startup, as I always talk about it, right, when you're talking about data science, I know so many students are there and so many faculties are there. What students can do just to learn, right? You can just go back and see 10 years papers, exam papers, and actually put your data analysis in place. What you need to do is just identify all these, like take one subject which you feel is very difficult for you. Okay. Try analyzing 10 different exam papers from the last 10 years and identify with the help of data analysis which are the most important topics which has been always there in the papers. It will take like roughly 1 to 2 weeks to prepare that code. Once you prepare the code, what you can do is either you can do take 10 years paper and just circle them. Another way is prepare a code for that. Write a code for that, doing that analysis and identifying important topics in any subject. Once you write that code, that becomes itself an application. You can make this application and sell it to multiple students, right? Not only just engineering, any student will buy that so that he knows what is the important topic. And that is how the ideas work. So I just gave you one idea. You guys can go and start working on that particular idea, and that can help you big time, right? So that is what is happening. So next is organizational structure, right? Earlier, the time was different. People were working from office. They were going to office, 9 to 5 job. They were having heavy desktops and, very old looking different systems they were working on. But talk about today, right? Connected communicating. And that is where the future is going. Right now, you see everybody is working from home. Everybody is learning from home. Even the education is happening online, right? That is where the future is. You have to upgrade yourself based on the new things which are coming into the picture. And there you work more thinking about how you can make or give the ease of doing things, right? If you talk about 2000 or maybe like latest is like 2008, right? Before that, Uber and Ola and Lyft, all these companies were not there, right? At that time, if you need a cab, how will you get the cab? You have to call some person, right? And then he will tell you a fixed price. You can't even negotiate because it's his price. But if you need a cab today, what you have to do? You just go to your phone, look for the apps, different apps, right? And check it. What is the price? If Ola is giving you better price, if Uber is giving you better price, if Rapido is giving you better price, and you just take the cab, right? This is how, and this is where the future is going. You have to think about it. Next is manual processes. right? When I'm saying manual processes, everything was manual. As I just gave you an example, to make one app, you can do the same thing manually by collecting papers, pointing it out, and writing down the topics. But at the same time, you can automatize it by using new technologies. You just go and Google about RPA. If you guys have heard of it, very good. If you're not, just read about RPA, robotics process automation. What it does is, whatever you can do manually step by step, it creates the bot, and then it runs automatically. You don't have to do anything. You just write the right bot, and bot will do everything for you. The only thing is, you need to be very clear with the logic. If you are good with the logics, you write the logic how this code will work, and then create the bots in RPA. And this RPA will do the rest of the things for you. That is where the future is. All the companies, everyone, even the biggest banks, if you talk about it, right? Bank of America, Swedish Bank, even in India, ICICI, HDFC, they all are moving towards automation. They're removing most easy work which can be done manually, step by step, right? Just by looking by address, searching, even the name typing, data updation, all these things, we don't need actually manual efforts. We can automatize these things. And that is where we have to learn. That is what we have to focus. Next is technical skills. Like I always talk about it, right? Technical skills of a wall, and Vivek sir surely can give his inputs, right? We just don't have to be have an idea. Like just having an idea will not suffice. You have to be technically stuffed. You need to know the skills. You need to know the technologies. And the reason is not just become you need to code, but let's say you are having one very fabulous idea and you build upon it, and then you meet a person who is actually technically helping you out and building that. Until unless you yourself does not know the technology, what can happen is, for the work of 1 week he can ask you to wait for 1 year, but one work of 1,000 rupees he can ask you 100 rupees, or he can ask you 1 lakh rupees, because you don't know the technology. But if you know the technology, if you know how it works, if you know all these tricks and tips, you don't have to do it. But when you're getting things done from others, you can actually know the right thing, the right timeline, right prices and everything. And that is what you have to do. Becoming technically aware, becoming technically equipped, learning new things, that will help you. Vivek sir, would you like to add something here on this point?
Sure, Prakhar. I think, as you rightly mentioned that, we need to move towards Atmanirbharta, right? We basically have to, so I think you'll have to work on your skills. There is no way around, there is no other way around it. You have to
Exactly.
basically bring in the right skill if you want to basically, if you want to basically get the right output, you have to give the right input. There is no other way to, go about it. I think
Exactly.
somebody asked that, hey, building startup is tough. Of course it is tough, right? I mean, there are no overnight successes, right?
True.
Lot of time, what we see that, hey, this guy is successful, right? He made $1 billion through his exit or through his, business. But
Hmm.
what we are not seeing that, probably he worked 20, 18 hours a day for, 10 years or 15 years before that, right? So there are no eureka moments. You have to work hard. And that's what I keep, telling students whenever I talk to them that, hey, focus on your skills. You don't need to know everything around the sun, but, you know you basically select one thing that you want to, that you like. And it could be, something technical, it could be something non-technical, it could be sales, whatever. Pick one thing, and basically, go deeper into it instead of being jack of all trade. Pick a specialty, go really really deep into it, be best at it, right? And that's what is needed. I mean, whether you are basically working for a large organization, or you are building something from ground up, if you want to be valued, if you want to excel in your career, if you want to succeed in your career, you need to basically go deeper. You need to have enough uh, you need to have enough subject knowledge.
Yeah.
And another thing that I want to add, that there are a lot of good developers around, even in companies, who are really good at coding, but they are not using their common sense to basically understand the problem statement in the first place, which is really, really important. Uh, but almost 95-96% of the world's problem can be solved through just common sense, through just your experience. If you're
Exactly.
just using your experience, what you have seen in the past, if you're keeping your eyes and ear open, 96% of the world's problem can be solved. It's just that, so basically build an adopter, right? Even if you are writing code, have some sort of business acumen, have some sort of customer acumen, have some sort of empathy EQ, empathy quotient, that who is going to use this. If I'm writing a line of code, whom I'm writing for, how how will this, why this user wants to use this app, what problem he is trying to solve, and how am I going to help him. So
Exactly.
if as a developer, if as a worker, if you as an engineer, if you can think about it, you can do wonders in your career.
And that is what exactly, sir, we have to think from the perspective of end user always. When you think from that perspective, you actually come up with the better codes, better solutions. And let's say if you are building like if you are a doctor, right, and you are doing the operation of your own family, you'll be very much cautious. You don't want to lose them, right? Same thing applies. Just apply the same empathy in your development. It can be just not the startup. Even if you are studying in a college, if you are teaching in a college, or you're doing any IT job, right? The more empathetic you become towards your work which you are doing, you grow more, you shine more. That is the key. All right. So let me move and talk about how the technology is shifting, right? And this is something which is going to be very interesting, right? And I know I'm like we are already on top of the hour. We just need 10 more minutes. We'll be talking and we'll be taking question. If you guys have any question or any specific things on these topics, we will take it forward, right? So normally, if you see, right, earlier the applications were very, very limited. They were not collaborative. They were not cloud applications. Down the line, everything is moving to the cloud. Things are becoming like or going into mobile applications, right? If you see right now, you can do everything on your phone. If you're working, right, you can do your banking, you can do your cab booking, you can get your food, you can do everything on your phone. Why? Because somebody has thought that idea. Even the purchase, buying, shopping, selling, everything, right? It's all getting possible just because someone actually get out of that old school thought about how we can make life easier of others, had empathy towards ideas, built that app and implemented it. Did not He did not get scared that, oh, will it work or not, will this fail or something. They made those different apps. Talk about Amazon, Ola, Swiggy, multiple application. And I can tell you for sure, every year more than 4 lakh app startups get formed. But does all sustain? No, because most of the people, they actually you know get into the trap of failure and whatnot. The only thing is, to sustain, to learn, to grow, you actually have to evolve every day and talk about the new world, where the world is going, right? And the world is everything, everybody is going towards cloud, blockchain, AI and automation, mobile application. And that is where you have to put your efforts. All
So
right.
Prakhar, I want to add an example here.
Sure, sir.
So Steve Jobs came up with the iPod, right? I mean, nowadays this is obsolete, but this was a really hit product about 10 years back, right?
True.
And while he was building it, he wanted to build a really sleek, really good looking product, right? I mean, he was really he was really a perfectionist. So his designer showed him something, and he said, hey, I like it, but it should be even more thinner.
Hmm.
And he said, it's not possible. This is the
Best I
given
could
the
do.
computing power, given the RAM, everything that is going behind it, it's not possible. I can't make it thinner. So he basically took it, he dropped it into a bucket of water, and some water bubble came up. He said, look at this, there is air in it, right? So that means that you can make it thinner. You can basically reduce the space and you can make it thinner. So point I'm trying to make is always challenge yourself as an innovator, as a student, as a whatever you're doing today, right? Always challenge yourself. Don't accept an answer that this is the final answer. always try to optimize things, always try to challenge yourself that can I do it better, and that's where you will basically hit the excellence.
Awesome. And that is actually a very good suggestion. And I think, sir, this is not something which is only for students. This is for everyone, even for me, for all the people here, right? Even if you are a faculty or whatnot, always keep challenging. Awesome. So we talked about multiple buzzwords like talking. Everyone is talking about RPA, cloud, data science, and whatnot. What I have come up with is like everything is step by step journey. I have actually listed down. This is based on my knowledge, which can be limited. But what you can do is you can actually start working today, right? You have a very good platform here. DigiSaksham is trying to conduct a lot of webinars. They are conducting a lot of courses and whatnot. And please chime in, Atul, if you are on the call, right? If you can help people here, they can learn about these things different through you, and you can give them trainings, and you can actually give them pathway how they can actually become expert in AI, how they can become an expert in data science. The first thing is always to take the first step. And first step is just to start learning about those different things, right? To understand the ideas, how what it is, the lingo which we use, right? We talked about chatbots. What is chatbot? What is actually deep learning? What is artificial intelligence? What is that tool which is happening on cloud? What does actually is do? And read about that. And slowly, when you read about the first step, you're done with this understanding. Keep moving forward. Make sure that you are learning different tools, different languages, different programming skills, and whatnot. Keep growing. And nowadays, everything is available online, right? Everything is available online. What you can do is you can just utilize the platform and keep and continue learning. And I'm sure we are going to make a couple of courses specifically on these topics, which will be launching very soon. And through DigiSaksham also will be providing this on platform. You can continue doing that and upgrading yourself. So Atul, if you have anything to add, or do we have any question which are there which we can answer?
Thank you, sir. It was a really wonderful session. We have few questions from YouTube viewers also.
Awesome.
Firstly, they are asking about startup should have apps or the websites to get it in the market.
Sorry,
Okay.
come again.
Startup companies should have apps or website to get in the market. What we should prefer the first?
I think that depends on who is your audience, right? I mean, I can't, honestly speaking, I can't give a blanket, answer that, hey, you should build a website or you should build an app. You should think about who is your audience, and do they use, laptop more? Do they, basically hook to internet, or will they like to basically, download an app and keep it in their phone? Now, I'll give you an example, right? I mean, let's say if I'm a small business owner, sometimes it may not make sense for me to basically, and I have fringe uses, I don't have very high usability. So it will make more sense for me to basically build a website where I can basically promote the website URL. Customer can come in, he can go through the information, whatever I'm trying to share, he can consume it and go away. But if I'm trying to basically build a closer loop, I want to basically my app or my product, let's say user is using it 5 times a week, it makes more sense to basically build an app around it. So I'll give you another example. Let's talk about Ola. Now Ola, I may need it every day to book a cab. So for the company, it makes more sense to basically invest into building the app. And you can always do study that hey, are your users more on Android or versus iOS, and basically you can take decision. And let's say if I'm building a blog which is posting only once a month or once a week, in that case probably it will make more sense for me to build a website, because the only use for the user will be to basically read my blogs. Then probably app doesn't really make sense. So it totally depends on what kind of business you are trying to build, what are the usage, who is your audience, and
Audience.
what are they comfortable with.
Exactly. To know your audience is the most important thing. When you know
Yeah.
your audience, you can actually cater your thing.
So I think another way to do it is, basically list down, who could be your, audience, list down the traits, go and talk to those kind of people and ask them, hey, should I build a website? Should I build a, so let your user tell you that, hey, whether he will prefer a website or whether he will prefer a mobile app.
Mobile app. Yeah. Awesome.
Okay,
All right.
thank you, sir. The next question is that would it be easy for apparel stores to switch over with the new technologies?
Of course, it will be, right? I mean, uh, in fact, for them, inventory management is even more complex. They basically have a lot of SKUs, lot of styles, etc. Right? So it makes sense for them to, digitize their operations, understand, what is working for them, what is not working for them, connect with their customers through a loyalty program or some sort of CRM, so that you can keep going back to them, keep telling them about new products that are available in the store, connect with them, sell them more. In fact, it might make sense at some point of time, if you're growing enough, to build some sort of website also, right? Or have some sort of digital presence also. So in my suggestion, I think everyone should, digitize their operations, uh, if they're not really small.
Awesome.
Okay,
It's just more convenient, right? Even
Exactly.
panwalas have these small khata book kind of apps today, where
Apps,
they basically maintain their
ledgers. Yeah.
maintain their ledgers, etc. So in my opinion, everyone should be digitized. Yeah, it doesn't really matter.
Exactly. And I think that
sure,
is
sir.
what the motto of this tool also, right? DigiSaksham. That's what we are doing, making people capable using digital capabilities. All right. So, guys, I know we might be having a lot of students here. I have one YouTube channel also where you can actually go and learn about things, specifically on interviews, communication. I have given some videos where you can actually learn and utilize that. And through DigiSaksham, if you have further questions specifically towards the startup, towards these technologies, and specifically, do post them. And I'm sure these people will route all these questions to us, and we will try to make sure that we answer all those questions. I think that is it, and we can call it a day. And if anything else you want
So
to add, Vivek sir,
no, I just want to thank everyone for basically taking out their time. Thank you, Sakshi, thank you, Atul, for providing us this platform. This was
platform.
really amazing to basically talk to all of you and share our experience. Thank you.
Exactly.
Thank you so much,
And
sir, on
if
behalf
you
of
have any
DigiSaksham.
questions, do reach out to us. I will be very happy to answer any questions or any help any student basically building out his ideas.
That's so
Sure,
great.
sir. Our participants will connect us as soon as we are getting the questions from there. We will surely connect with you for the further
Sure.
more questions and queries. Thank you on behalf of DigiSaksham. Participants, please do not forget to fill your feedback forms for the further inquiries and further details.
All right. Have a very wonderful weekend, everyone. Have a very good day.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Have a nice day. Bye bye.